Good evening, everyone. I really appreciate you taking the time to come out tonight. You obviously care very much about your community. You care very much about our public spaces. And we're discussing tonight is Britannia Beach. And I'm going to start off with a land acknowledgement. The City of Ottawa honors the peoples and lands of the Anishinaabe Algonquin Nation. We honor all First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples and their valuable past and present contributions to this land. Thank you. So I've got some city experts here who are, we've got a combination of people from Ottawa Public Health, as well as from Parks and Recreation. So I'm gonna start by introducing Kendra LaBrosse, who's gonna describe the situation at the beach for this year. We have Jim Lethridge, who has been, was the area manager previously, so he's got the more historic knowledge. And we have Erin McClelland and Allison Downs from Ottawa Public Health, who can answer questions regarding Ottawa Public Health. So we'll start with the presentation. Because we don't have a large number of people, I think it'll be fairly easy to do hand raising and ask questions. We won't need to necessarily use chat, but you're welcome to if you don't feel comfortable speaking and you prefer chat. That's fine as well. Okay, well, thank you very much. And I'll start with Kendra. Thank you.
Yes, good evening. Thanks for having me today. So this spring, we are proceeding with installation of the Gull wires at Britannia Beach. We're just waiting for the water levels to recede, given that it's still quite high with the current spring freshet. And so that will assist with the management of the birds at the beach. As we did last year, there will also be garbage bins with lids to deter the geese from their attraction to the garbage in there. We currently have signage for users of the beach regarding not feeding the birds and to help us keep our beaches clean. We do have regular staff that work in parks maintenance at Britannia Beach to help with the garbage collection and keeping the beach clean for all the users.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't know if, do you want to add anything, Erin or Allison, in terms of Ottawa Public Health and what the routine is for testing the waters?
Yeah, sure, I can go ahead. So, Councillor, actually, unfortunately, our specialists from our division in public health that are responsible for E. coli testing and water quality weren't able to make it. So I'm here tonight to take it. If there's any questions anybody has, I'll be here tonight to take those questions away and report back. So unfortunately, it's not my background, my area of expertise, but I'm happy to take away any questions anybody has. I can bring back the information. Yeah.
Thank you. Great. And I see we have Donna Whitman here as well. And thank you, Donna, for coming out. A member of our staff team. I don't know if you have anything to add.
Thank you for inviting me out this evening, and we're looking forward to the start of the season, and I can try my best to answer any questions anyone may have regarding the beach operation this evening. Okay, great. Well, this is going to be, I think, a fairly short meeting. We'll in terms of we've got a short presentation, so that was great. That's the information we have. Is there questions? Alex Cullen.
Thank you, Councillor, for this, and just to staff. I'm familiar with the original wire project because I was around when that happened, and what prompted the wires coming down was the death of some gulls whose necks were caught up in the wires. And it seemed to me that there was a difference between what was originally approved decades ago when we installed the wires. It wasn't meant to kill any birds. It was to discourage them from the beach area because of their contribution to E. coli. Is there a change in the wires? Because what the pictures that were shown in social media appeared to look like fishing line, and yet uh, when this project was initiated, it wasn't fishing line that went up; it was actually metal wires, and no birds were killed. So, is there a change there? Do we know? Well, maybe someone can answer the question. What kind of wire is going up there?
I can answer for the wires that we have going up this year. So it is the monofilament wires, but we have asked for them to be a colored version. So it would be a green monofilament going in for this year in hopes that that is a bit more visible to the birds.
Sure. So originally they weren't monofilament; they were metal wires. I presume the change happened fairly recently. I mean, I'm encouraged that they're going to be colored, so visible. I presume this is going to be monitored to make sure that they're effective. Does anyone know when that change happened from metallic wires to the monofilament, which is a kind of a nylon fishing line?
Jim has his hand up, so I'll pass it over to Jim Lethbridge.
Yes, thank you, Councillor, and thank you, Mr. Cullen, for the question. With a little bit of history on the location, there has been a combination of metal wire and monofilament in use for several years now. The metal wire is really meant as part of that engineered structure that spans great lengths between the poles themselves, and then the monofilament is the fill-in section. For as long as I've been involved, there's been a combination of the two types of wiring system. The monofilament in past years has been a clear version, so the test of moving to a more colored monofilament should be helpful in improving the visual acuity and the potential, allowing birds to see it. The question is, will that now make the system, will it affect the impact of the system? So we'll monitor that as part of this. Some of the previous complaints have been that as wires are damaged, not so much at Britannia, but elsewhere, that the strands not be left dangling in water. So we'll certainly be monitoring, or Public Works will be monitoring. I'm sorry, I'm speaking on behalf of Public Works. We'll be monitoring for those damaged wires. And then just one step back further, there were two reasons why the Gull wires have not been installed in recent years. In 2019, with the freshet that was experienced, we weren't able to locate the piers in order to install the systems. It was rather late in the season, so it was abandoned for that year. And then when the resculpting of the basin was completed as a project in 2021, they were also not installed that year. Sorry, it may have been 2022. But anyways, so for those two reasons, it wasn't necessarily attributed to the mortalities that were experienced. There have been some noted at this location, and they have not been a significant number, but we are aware that that's an impact and looking to prevent bird injuries or mortalities.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is any other questions? I can't
Hello.
see. Oh,
Hi.
Hi, Karen.
Hi. Sorry, I'm on my phone and I can't figure out where to find the little hand.
Okay.
So I'm sorry for interrupting.
Not a problem. Go ahead.
I just had a question about the evaluation, and I know that you had looked at various indicators to decide to put them back in. So would you be able to confirm that you would be doing an ongoing evaluation for this year as well? I just would be really curious to see I know there's a lot of factors that are variables year to year, but it would be quite interesting to see results when you put the Gull wires back up.
I'll pass that on to Kendra. And of course, it's always monitored in terms of, the closure days. I think that's the one thing that people are watching for as well. I should note that Mooney's Bay is, you know, our kind of our sister beach. And they did not have wires last year. They're not having wires this year either. There's no interest to put them back up, just so you're aware. So that was a decision that was made for that area. But Kendra, could you talk about the overall monitoring of the wires?
Yes, so certainly we'll be monitoring, as Jim mentioned, for any damaged wires and that kind of thing. I believe public health is also going to be continuing with their E. coli monitoring, which we can then review at the end of the season to compare with the swim days.
Okay, thank you. And so that's interesting comment about Mooney's Bay. Were their E. coli levels and their closure days not affected by the removal of their gull wires last year?
Yeah, they had a different pattern. They had some closures, but not as many as us, for sure. Well, actually, Erin, maybe you have that, or Allison. I don't have it in front of me, but do either of you?
Yeah, Councillor, I can certainly take that question away and report back on it for sure.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I said I can take that question away and report back on it.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, okay.
It was different. Theirs was different. I remember looking at it before, but I don't have it directly in front of me. But they had a different pattern.
If memory serves, Westboro Beach continues to be the leader in closures. And then followed by Petrie, and then I think it was Britannia and Mooney's Bay, but Erin can verify that. That's all public information.
Yeah, all the records are kept on Ottawa Public Health's website, but it takes a little time to just sort of go through all the days and you know, how many closures, and they have it for previous years as well.
Right. We looked at that in our community to compare them. It's just a curiosity I have, and what indicators influence the E. coli the most. I know, like, there's rain, runoff, number of gulls. There's a whole bunch of different indicators. It's just an interesting analysis to look at. So that's fine. If you don't have that readily available, that's fine. Maybe in the future.
There's a question in the chat, and please continue to put your hand up if you have a question. In the chat, what were the conclusions of the trial project the city undertook last year in removing the gull wires? I can say that it was not necessarily conclusive, but there were more closures. I don't know if you want to elaborate, either Kendra or Jim. I mean, there's other factors like the fact that Westboro Beach was closed, so therefore more people, different things.
Yes, I think that, and I'll let Jim can speak to this as well, but I think it was looking at all the different factors of the swim days and time after a large rainfall. There certainly was a few more experienced at Britannia, but there are many other factors that could be impacting those dates as well.
Yeah. Jim?
And my apologies, this is redundant, but yes. So there were a number of closures. I don't have the numbers in front of me for Britannia Beach, but Mr. Cullen is quite correct. Petrie would be the leader, I believe, in terms of closures at this point. Westboro, of course, being closed last year, may have taken that lead just by nature of not being open. Mooney's Bay did not experience a significant number of closures in 2022, and part of why they're extending that trial for not installing wires this year. The information on what the root cause of closures was at Britannia is rather inconclusive, but obviously E. coli count related to birds or other activities, the water, the rate of flow, elevations, rain days. It's quite complex in trying to attempt to understand what the single root cause is, and it's always going to be a combination of factors.
Thank you, Jim. we have another question in the chat. Will there be more garbage installed? I mean, garbage containers, I assume. On busy weekends, they tend to be overflowing and not picked up until Monday. On long weekends, garbage tends to sit out for many days.
So we do have regular staff that work out of Britannia. So they are often picking up even on the weekends and after events. So we will be doing our best to attend to the garbage.
Yeah, and I can add that I spoke to the general manager today and asked about more signage for things like not feeding birds. And there was a suggestion from Britannia Village to have signs about possibly, you know, pack up your stuff and take it home. So there is no such signs at the moment. So I've asked them to look into that, to consider it. I think that's for any park. You know, just as we're trying to reduce waste, it gets people to be more conscious, kind of like the camping theme that you must, you know, not leave a mark behind. It doesn't mean necessarily that anyone will, everyone will abide by it, but it's just a reminder that somebody has to be responsible for this garbage, and just to get people more conscientious about it. So I appreciate the suggestion. Donna?
Thank you, Councillor. We also had a social media campaign to that effect last year as well. So we'll also use that tool to have some messaging out through our marketing communications unit and through ottawa.ca to remind people just to make sure that they're taking out or disposing properly of any garbage that they have. Yeah.
It's good to have it on site because not everyone's on Twitter. Just saying.
Absolutely.
There was a question previously about any solutions for birds that isn't wires, anything more humane. I think I can say that we did do an exercise last year, and Jim was very instrumental in getting it done. And that was to have drone, sorry, the word slipped out of my head, a drone that chased the birds away. And it was operated by someone. And they did that like Friday, Saturday, Sundays, I think it was, on the busiest days. And people who witnessed it were pretty amazed at it. So it was somebody who we just had on contract to do that. So that was one way, that was trying to find a way to chase the birds away that was not wires. It just couldn't do it every single day. Person, it wasn't even available that long, but it was helpful for those days. So that was something that we had tried to, in terms of trying to be more, well, it's an alternative. The word humane is a bit, we're trying something new for the wires, as we've mentioned, that it's going to be color. So hopefully that will keep them from getting caught up. Okay. Is there any further questions? Oh, yes, Landon?
Hi, just quick. I think they're great. We enjoyed the beach when they were there, the gull wires. I'm just wondering, curious, how much do they cost? How much does the project cost each year?
Good question. I think Kendra and Jim might have the answer on that, because that may change.
Yes, so this year it's about just under 50,000 for the installation at Britannia.
Okay, thank you. Good question. So that, because the wires didn't go up last year, that there was money that was directed towards putting on the containers, lids on garbage cans, not $50,000 worth, but all those other alternatives, hiring the person to chase the birds away, and as well having more pickups. So I'm still insisting on more pickups as much as possible. Spoke to the general manager about that. It's the biggest issue is the garbage. That's why they're there. It's people's food. And people have to be educated to understand that do not feed those birds. I see it all the time. It's very charming for kids to, you know, feed an animal, and unfortunately, it's very destructive, and people just don't realize the consequences. So, but anyway, we'll keep pushing that message, and we've even talked to the lifeguards about chatting with people informally, you know, that rather than not in a pushy way, but that was another idea to get the message through. Thank you. Okay.
Keep it up.
Teresa?
We enjoy the beach so much. You're doing great. Keep it up. It's good.
Thank you. Karen?
Yeah, hi. I just want to thank you, Teresa, for all of the work you've done to improve the situation at Britannia Beach. Particularly, I'm pleased with the lids on the garbage cans and the extra pickups of garbage. And if we can proceed, as you've already started, that pack and go program. I'm in BC right now. I've been here for 2 weeks, and almost every park I go in here, it's just a common thing. It's people are very aware that if they bring in their picnics, they bring out their garbage and their extra food. They don't let it lay around. So if we can continue with that, I think it's great. So thanks again.
Thanks, Karen. Do they have signs up?
Yeah, there's signs packing it in, packing it out.
Take a picture and send it to us.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah, take a picture. You know, it's obviously working, so let's copy them. Why reinvent the wheel?
Exactly. Okay.
Great.
Good. Thank you.
Carol? Thanks.
I just wanted to echo Karen's comments as well. Thank you for hosting the meeting. And thanks to the city staff for paying so much attention to this beach that we truly love in our community.
It's a special place. And if it's a hot summer, we're going to need it. I have to say, I was really glad about the news that Westboro is going to be open, even if it's partial. Though I'll be honest, I have a question. Why aren't they testing the water at Westboro if it's going to be open even a bit? I don't think you can be just a little open. You're open or you're not open. So why is the water not being tested?
What is he doing?
Sorry to put on the spot.
No, this might be a good question for Aaron with OPH. I wasn't aware they were partially opening Westboro. I did hear there were rumors they might attempt that. If the NCC is opening it, but it's not an official swim beach with lifeguards and monitoring, that might be the reason. But Aaron, are you able to comment?
Yeah. So again, yes, I can bring that back to the team, and we can provide an answer to you, Councillor, within the week to share with the group. Yeah.
I am aware they're not having lifeguards. They're just going to kind of just make space so that people can use the water. But I personally, I would think that if you're going to say you can use the water, you should consider testing it. And you can still have the signs up saying no lifeguard, because I mean, people swim outside of lifeguard hours anyway, but it would be good to know the water quality. That's just me. Well, it's not just me, it's a whole bunch of people. So anyway, thank you very much. Appreciate it. We'll be getting information out as you know, as things progress, and I'll be in touch. Kendra, keep us posted on how it goes for getting those wires up, and we'll see a difference, I assume. Thank you all for coming out this evening. Oh, Jim, do you have some last words?
Sorry, and just only because I've got my Frechette hat on right now, as we talk about high water levels. Obviously, the installation of the system at this location is highly impacted by the levels of the Ottawa River. So we'll be watching as this goes down. The contractor, from what I'm aware, is aware of the situation and will be ready to mobilize. But they certainly can't do it until the conditions are appropriate. So for their safety, it might result in a slight delay. I hope not, but it's just an awareness item.
Thank you, Jim. And yes, that is important. And by the way, thank you for your work on the freshet. As it turned out, we were fine this year. We're grateful for that. But people like Jim were leading and working on the, just making sure things were in place so that we had everything we needed if it came to that. And fortunately, it didn't. So we're very grateful. Thanks again for all your help. Great. Well, I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their evening. Maybe go down and look at the beach. Okay, take care. Thank you.
Night.
Have a good evening, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.